I'm catching up with Nav Jotsani. He cashed in his career as a Dyson engineer and developed a unique washing machine. Well, his creation is currently being used in refugee camps, like most, which are currently at risk from a rapid spread of coronavirus. Well, the machine not only reduces the amount of water needed in areas where it's limited and precious, it's a precious resource, but is also liberating women who traditionally spend hours washing clothes. This is going to get me on this subject, definitely. Hello to you now, Joe. How are you?
Hey, Sandra, how are you? Long time.
I'm really pleased. And you know what? It's nice because you've been on the show before, and I know this was a sort of an earlier point in this project, but so good to have you back for you to be able to update us. But firstly, just tell us about the washing machine project.
Sure. Yeah. Well, thank you for having me on the show. And my name's Nav. It means new in Punjabi, and I've always been really obsessed with innovating kind of new products. I joined Dyson's graduate program, and about 2 or 3 years into my experience, I got really fed up of making vacuum cleaners for rich people. So I decided to quit my job and go make clean and efficient cook stoves in South India, in the very rural part of South India. And there I met my next door neighbor, a lady called Divya. And it was through Divya's daily struggles, like cooking and cleaning, something that I really took for granted. She'd have to travel long periods of time to collect wood for her cooking, and she'd have to hand wash clothes for her family. And I promised her a manual washing machine for this activity to Divya, and her eyes lit up. And that promise really stuck, and that's when the penny dropped, and that's when I started the washing machine project.
All right, okay. Wow, really great. But let me just recap a little bit, because I want to find out a little bit more about you and this inspiration. So, you gave up this job. I heard you say you gave up the opportunity, there we go, to make to do this stuff for rich people, and off you went. But were you ever worried in the early days of being a student that that there would be no job at the end of it? Because of course, we study this, we study our past, don't we? Study our subjects, but quite often, is it the right thing to do?
Massively, and it was a massive worry for me personally. I'm from a South Asian family, and I don't know if your family is the same, Sandra, but when I said to my mum I wanted to quit my well-paid job to go work for free on the other side of the world, she wasn't very happy. But I wanted to use my engineering skills to better humanity. I wanted to really help people. I didn't want to make another product for another middle-class family around the world. I wanted to, help someone like Divya. And that whole experience, that inspiration really transformed the way I look at life through my engineering skills.
Yeah. Now, the machine itself, tell us about it and how does it work?
Yeah, sure. So we make manual washing machines that save time, water, and effort for people like Divya. So we've interviewed thousands of people now since 2019 when we founded the Washing Machine Project. And it's a manual crank handle washing machine that saves 50% of water and 75% of time. You stand up whilst you use it, so it's positive posture, so you don't have to crouch down. And all your washing is done in one go, and it uses off-the-shelf components. So it's so if something breaks, someone can fix it rather than calling out an engineer, which is probably something that you can't do in a refugee camp around the world.
But Nav, if it's manual, how does it save time?
So if you imagine having, you and your average family of 8 washing to do, you'd get on your hands and knees. You'd have to scrub each piece of cloth, the collars, the cuffs, and the buttons. You'd scrub each piece of cloth, and that would take up to 20 hours a week. And so with our machine, you put all of the washing in the large drum. It's a 5 kg drum capacity, and then you wash for about half an hour, and your 5 kg of washing is completed. So it reduces the washing time, which is about 2 hours per day, to about half an hour per day. So That's how it takes time.
And what's been the response then of the many people that use your machines?
Yeah, feedback has been really, really enlightening and very interesting feedback. There's still massive social barriers. My husband still wants me to wash by hand. We actually saw one person use the washing machine as a TV stand. So there's still massive bits of work that we need to do as an organisation to really get this into refugee camps, getting it adopted. And the kind of new piece of news that we have is that we have this brilliant new partnership with a company called Electro Components, who has sponsored the washing machine project through a charitable foundation called the TWMP Foundation. And they are an amazing organisation that have sponsored a target of 7,500 machines over the next 3 years in 10 countries, which is phenomenal, because all I wanted to do was make a washing machine for my next door neighbour.
And look how it's just blown apart. I'm looking at the Facebook post about this. Yes, 7,500 washing machines to 10 countries, positively impacting 100,000 people, Nav. I mean, you weren't thinking about that, were you, in the early days, scratching your head trying to work out how to create this thing? How amazing is that? You must feel elated.
Yeah, and it's just, for me, it all goes back to that promise of, leaving that burden for Divya and so many more women around the world. And we just don't want to stop at washing machines. We want to continue innovating for humanitarian purposes. We want to make off-the-grid refrigerators.
Yeah.
Lighting, air conditioning. We want to keep innovating further for people like Divya and many more like her around the world.
All right. Well, that sounds fab. I mean, what would be your message? It was very poignant what you said about men, particularly men, still not wanting their wives, their partners to use this. What would your message be to a man now who's still thinking that way? And this is interesting because you're bringing your male perspective to this.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to stack back on my own personal experience, I grew up in a women-dominated household. My father died when I was 8 years old, so I really know the power of women, and I had two older sisters. And, it was really instilled into me from a very young age, this power of women. Like, if we empower women, we empower the world. This unpaid labor that's not documented by many people is really important to highlight. Women do so much more than men when it comes to unpaid labor. It's unfair. It needs to be equalized, and it's coming. We've made so much progress over the last 100 years, and men need to get on board very quickly, or they'll get left behind.
Yes, it's going to roll on through. Yeah, I like that. Thank you so much. So you empower women, and basically they can change the world. Brilliant, wise words. I'm going to say that, wouldn't I? It was just brilliant. I love what you're doing. And listen, do keep in contact with us. You're doing fantastically well. All these milestones that you're achieving. I love it. Thank you very much for coming on the show this evening, and do stay in touch.
Thanks, Sandra.
You take care. You take care. Fantastic. Wow. He's definitely up for women doing their thing, and for men to get on board and support. What a great project. And it's been lovely tracking his story. Amazing. Do follow them on Facebook. It's called the Washing Machine Project. You can see all their details there. And also some incredible pictures of a lot of the women sitting around talking and working. And just don't forget, listen to this figure, impacting 100,000 people in 10 countries, all from a thought about just trying to help people. Isn't that great? It is. Stereo MCs now. Step it up here on BBC.